You know, I remember when I was in college and I had to make that decision of what my major was going to be. And I didn't have a way to answer the question. And around me, I saw people that had somehow figured it out. And I felt like there was no answer for me. And it kind of isolated me. And what I did was just make a decision by default. I figured out which course I was getting the best grade in, which was biology, and I became a biology major. And what was nice about that is it took the pressure off of me to answer the question, what is your major? But really that only lasted for a few months, because soon after that you got to decide, okay, now with this major, what are you going to do with your life? Again, I had no way to answer those questions. I just kind of floated along and saw where it led me. And finally my dad said to me one day, hey, why don't you try dentistry? So I went off to USC Dental School in 1984, and I actually loved dental school. It was a blast. And when I graduated, the advice that I was given was, if you build a great product, people will come. And so that's what I did. I mean, I spent 20 years going to the best institutes, hiring the best mentors. We have all the latest technology, a well-trained team. But what I found was just having a great product was not enough. People didn't want to go out and talk about their teeth. They didn't want to say, hey, look at the nice crowns that Dr. Sanchez made for me. So what I ended up with was a practice with patients that didn't need any treatment anymore, and they weren't telling anybody about us. And I remember one day I was sitting in my office, looking at my computer screen, at my half-empty schedule, wondering, how could this have happened to me? What am I going to do? Later that week, my daughter asked me to take her and her teenage girlfriends to the midnight book opening of Twilight. So I'm wandering around this bookstore, and I look down this aisle and I see a book called The Answer. And it's exactly what I was looking for. It was written by a guy named John Assaraf. So I hired him as my coach. And through John, I learned how to get my message out to the world. But the only problem was, what am I going to say? And so since I didn't know, I just stayed quiet. And then one day I heard John Assaraf interview Simon Sinek. And it was so powerful because he talks about starting with your why versus starting with your what, and how that connects differently to your brain when you start with your why. So I saw that and I was like, man, that's the missing piece. That's what I don't have. So I became obsessed with discovering my why. I called Simon. I said, hey Simon, I need you to help me discover my why. He took me through this process of going back in my life through every significant event and trying to look for a pattern. And after months and months of this, I finally discovered my why. And my why is to find a better way and then share it. And once I learned that and saw that, my life made so much sense to me. It went from a feeling, a maybe this is it, I'm kind of like this, to this is why I do what I do and this is what I bring. That's when I had the clarity to be able to make decisions, to be able to create the messaging and the marketing that was real. And so once I applied that process to my practice took off. We went from just getting 4 to 5 new patients a month to getting 35 to 45 new patients a month. I started getting calls from other dentists that said, hey, can you help me do what you did for your practice? And so I started helping people discover their why. I would sit down with them and take them through this process that I developed, and I could help them discover their why so they could use it for their business or their practice. In fact, I would sit down with anybody who would let me anywhere, because I saw what it did for my life and the clarity that it brought me into who am I and how do I talk about it. So I wanted to share that with other people. In fact, I couldn't stop myself. And now I've worked with over 500 companies, from small yoga studios to multi-billion dollar companies, helping them get clear on who they are and how do you articulate that? How do you say that to the marketplace so you attract the right people to you? The Why Institute is about helping individuals and businesses discover and live their why so they can move forward faster and have a bigger impact. And so if you're in that place, if you're wondering, what's my next step? Take the free Why app. Discover your why. And then I'll show you how to develop your how and your what, so you're clear on why you do what you do, how you bring that to life, and what others can count on from you. And then we take that and build your brand so that you can move forward faster and you can have a bigger impact. And that's when you love your life, because you have your passion back and you know the direction you're going.